So for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Young, and in addition to being part of the Trinity Darien congregation, I'm also a member of the Trinity Church Finance Committee. So one of the areas that we realize we always need to do better is communication. Certainly something that I've received feedback on. And so following Ben's encouragement last week, for each of us to prayerfully consider where God may be challenging us to lean in with our giving as we approach the end of the year, we wanted to make sure that we're providing you with information about our finances and about how they're used to support the ministry of our church. So, as you might imagine, I had to beat out some fairly stiff competition to give this update from my fellow Finance Committee members. Always a popular thing to get to do. The members of the Finance Committee are Andrew Tucker, Jen Meredith, Gil Oles, Chris Vestog, Mike Iodice, Christine Dorval, Andy Hable, and myself. So the Finance Committee serves at the pleasure of the elders. It provides additional oversight of the church's finances. We meet monthly to review and monitor the financials of the church. We keep the elders regularly informed of key financial items, and we make recommendations to the elders on finance topics as needed. But I would say most importantly, we try to and seek to ensure that we're faithful stewards of all that God is doing here at Trinity Church and to use the resources that He has given us in His service. So to give you a little history, here's a chart that shows you our overall ministry plan, which is what we call our budget, from 2016 to 2019. So for 2020, the annualized ministry plan run rate would be around $3.8 million. Which would represent around a $400,000 or 10% reduction on our actual spend of $4.2 million in 2018. And it would also represent about a $200,000 or further 5% reduction from where we anticipate landing at the end of this year. So there are two primary drivers of expenses over the past few years. One is Sunday venue rental expense, and secondly is office space and ministry center expenses. So from 2016 to 2019, we moved the Greenwich Sunday service 4 times. If you were with us during that time, you will remember that we had a lot of venue changes, and we're really thankful for the stability that our Greenwich congregation has at the Hyatt. But the Hyatt, in common with other venues that we occupied, is simply more expensive than our old venue of Central Middle School, which many of us knew and loved very much, which unfortunately is not available to us anymore. Additionally, as we all know, we also launched Trinity Darien here in the fall of 2017. And we've been incredibly blessed and feel, I think, enormously privileged to be a part of what God is doing here, resulting in our move from 1 to 2 services to accommodate the growth in the number of people attending services here. So we are always on the lookout for suitable longer-term venues or even a permanent location for our Sunday services at the most cost-effective rate, while balancing the need to provide a consistent and a stable venue for folks who join us every Sunday. So over the same period, we also purchased the building at 5 River Road in Coscob to be our Everything But Sunday Ministry Centre. And we moved our offices out of Trinity House, which we had significantly outgrown, to 1 River Road. In 2018, we really began to be able to fully utilize the ministry centre. And we are just so grateful for the great things that space now allows us to do. With TK gatherings, TY huddles, retreats, small groups, Bible studies and classes, prayer meetings, Kingdom Come and other worship events, the men's breakfast that was there just yesterday morning, and so much more as well. But while we're so grateful to God for His provision to us, and for the provision of the ministry centre specifically, we also recognize the need to be good stewards of all that He's given us. And so earlier on this year, we moved the whole Trinity staff team out of the office at 1 River Road to work exclusively out of the ministry centre. And we are currently looking to sublease approximately 4,000 square feet of space at 1 River Road. If anybody in the audience here today happens to know of anyone who would like to lease that space, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So while those 2 expense items, the venue rental costs and the office rental space, have both increased significantly since 2016, at the same time, as you can see from this chart, I hope, it's a little dull, at least it is to my eyes here, hopefully you can see from the chart, we have been on a 2-year journey to lower our operating expenses to the tune of around about $200,000 or 5% compared to last year's actual. And we've been able to do that by executing on a number of things. Firstly, moving to a single larger service in Greenwich. We have sold the Trinity-owned parsonage property in May this year, following Drew Williams' move to be the Anglican Bishop of New England. We've consolidated our Christmas services into one location at Greenwich High School, which Rico just mentioned, and also the non-replacement of some staff roles as they became vacant. We actually have 4.5 fewer staff members than we did in 2018. And I really just want to take a moment just to say how incredibly blessed we are to have the pastors and staff team that we do, and to thank them for their faithful service alongside all of us here at Trinity. They just do such a great job. Thank you. So in God's grace, we are doing a lot more with less. We will have 4 services in 3 locations in 2020 when we launch our new Westchester congregation, again, as you heard earlier. And some faithful families who will be part of the Westchester launch team have already committed funds to cover the incremental costs of launching the Westchester congregation, which is a real blessing. And it's just incredibly exciting to be a part of what God is doing, to be a part of something that really has kingdom impact. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 15 says, "And as God's grace reaches more and more people, there will be great thanksgiving, and God will receive more and more glory." So as I close, let me just share a chart of where we are in our giving year to date. Ben went through this with you last week, and if you received the weekly Trinity email, you would see that update there. And you can see that we continue to have what we traditionally call a faith gap. Having served on the Trinity Finance Committee for about 5 years now, I hadn't been familiar with this term, but I've become very familiar with it over the course of that service. And a faith gap is really just the gap between our expected givings and our projected expenses at the end of the year. So while that's a normal occurrence for us, and actually for many other churches in Fairfield County, because of the unique timing of bonus payments on Wall Street, particularly in this part of the world, this year the gap is significantly bigger than it has been in previous years. And so we would really invite everybody to lean in to pray with us about this. Please pray for our church. Please pray for what God is inviting you and me to be a part of here. And please pray that the Lord would challenge each of us to be faithful in our giving, as he has so generously given to us. And finally, I would just like to let you know that even with a potential shortfall this year, as a church, we have stepped out in faith and fully funded all of our Trinity Serves partner grants for 2019. This is something that we really felt God was calling us to do, and we really wanted to be faithful to that call on us as a church. So while we don't have time to cover everything this morning, we want to let you know that we are available. There is a dedicated email address if you want to email the finance team with any questions. Anyone can make an appointment with Mike Iodice, with Jen Meredith, with the finance office, and we'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you for allowing me to share this update with you. Thank you for all of your faithful participation in everything that God is doing in and through Trinity.